So in this one, I want to look at world domination. Okay, and I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that I just want to look at it. That if I was to go back in time or present day, I'd want to look at how the world could be dominated. Yes.
Yeah.
And what would I need? I need a family. Yes.
Yeah.
And there would be things that grow from this. I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm going to go into it anyway because, you know. So I would have a family.
Yeah.
And we could just look at this on small scale, but upscale it to have half the world, yes?
Yeah.
I would need loyal people around me, but also I would need my family in strategic positions in order for this to be accomplished. And it's more easier than I think it is, to be honest. A lot more easier.
Yeah.
Then I would need to build or divide the populations, yes? You can do this into many different ways you wanted to using land mass, but you would need the heads of each family, which no representation. I'm going to draw two individuals and these are going to be called twins.
Yeah.
One side of the twins grabs the masses this side, yes? Each circle represents the masses. Then in the masses would need to be occupied or seen over by my trusted loyalists, which would be close off branches of their families, of my family. Yes? But both sides would be related to one another, but not the people in this instance. Yes?
Yeah.
These are all the individuals. Then you have different families, which would be like, I don't know, you could say in this instance, business owners, yeah? Which are branches of family, of family, of family, of family, yes?
Yeah.
They're given different power levels, each one is. But they're all related. Both sides here and here are related.
Yeah.
These individuals are not related. These ones that branch off, that have different power to keep these ones in order, and these ones in order. Then I would need a sparse amount of, let's say, military then.
Yeah.
And the military would have a very rolled purpose in this.
What's that?
Well, in the meantime, I would be building different bunkers underground. Lots of them. Different bunkers all over the world at different locations for this group to go into.
Yeah.
We would be family, but it would be hidden. So we would hide the fact that we're family. And we would pretend to hate each other.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't. We'd share this hidden love with one another. These are the masses that you get to work for you. These ones work for you, be in the military, but in a different way. So this is population. This is your military. These are your military.
Yeah.
This is your population on both sides. Each one would be divided by a load of different language, but you would know the language between each other. They would also be divided by currency.
Yeah.
They would also be divided by what to think. All of this division here would be for a certain purpose that these people would build up, the working class would build up your nation.
Yeah.
Build all the things that you wanted, technology, you name it.
Yeah.
All the things that you wanted, machinery and different things like that. Then as times draw near, these people would eventually become, by narrative or by divine wisdom or whatever it may be, would begin to push back at these ones here, yes?
Yeah.
As they begin to push back at these ones here, there's a situation unfold. That then, you need your military. But your military can't directly go against the people. All right? Because, you know, everyone's in this together, this side of it. These ones are not in this. Now just look at this as world domination. Throughout history, it is very much known that the more you study about history, that the people always uprise these individuals here. Always. It always happens. Throughout history, you see it. It has plagued history one after another. It's all learned through our history books and everything else that when we learn in school, that people of the old empires rise up against them. Anyone that has studied that or has seen large empires fall know how it falls. it always goes with the people that overturn. So what do you do to stop that situation from happening? Well, you start a war in this scenario.
Yeah.
You would start a war with both sides.
Yeah.
However, these individuals and these individuals are never part of the war, ever. They go to the bunkers that you built with all of the things that they've got. And they could say, well, why do you need such big, large bunkers? There must be room for me here, the military. It must be room for us. No, because whilst you are too busy blowing the shit out of each other with all of your weapons, because you've been taught how to be dominating and how to be this protecting force, again, appealing. When these ones cross the border and go over here, they're going to do their job because their family is held at ransom. Same on both sides. The war then starts. You're busy distracted, that's what that means, at trying to win. But what you don't realise is your numbers are depleting on both sides. Your numbers are getting smaller and smaller. With these individuals here, their numbers are growing. They still keep on growing, and it depends on how big these families already are. Perhaps they were forming ashes from a last empire.
Maybe, yeah.
Again, that would have been an awful lot. They just retreated and restocked on how to get better at world domination, because that would be their objective, continuously want to dominate the world. Their numbers in their safety bunkers, here, here, you lot, then if they're under here and they've got their nice red buttons on both sides, they both know the plan because they've taught themselves it. They know the way. They press these buttons, that does even more damage to the individuals. Even more, and even less are about. Still, just enough left to repopulate, but not on a fast. These ones would be in their safety areas where they'd have purified air. They would be quite safe. They've got room for their families to expand if they ever needed to, with ways to keep building their family, and then their families get even bigger. By that time, your population has started to increase. Not by much, though. Theirs will always reign superior. Why? Because you've destroyed in your war all of your assets. Whilst you've destroyed all of your assets, because you've been taking the orders, what happens then is you are very depleted. And without a skill or knowledge, you don't know how to think for yourself. You've been taught how and what to think, and when to think it, and when to do it. Therefore, they've bred compliance into you. This compliance paves the way that you look at authority, which in this instance is about how much stuff you have, how much equipment you have in these bunkers here. And sure, some of them will learn how to build stuff, and they don't need to learn to build it. They just get AI underground to do it for them, because it's already been built at this time. World domination is a very strange thing. Whilst you are distracted, and that's what war is, it's just nothing more than a distraction in this play, you undoubtedly become the next, based on your knowing, you can predict that you will do this, this, and this. Now, I'm not saying that not all of them, because some will go against their people. Some don't care. A lot of them don't. This will be sorted out. And then your different generals, if you want, in this scenario, they could be family members here. That's why they never reach the streets after they've been used or done in their scenario to do something. You're left to the street. These people never are. And why is that? Perhaps it's because they've got an undoubted relation here.
Somewhere there,
War is nothing more than a distraction in this play. I'm not saying that this is happening. I'm not saying that it wouldn't. But again, all the way we've seen empires form time and time again, there's a high amount of learning on history. And one thing I think that most in power have is a fear of losing power. This is a big fear, because history full stops that, right? Puts it really clearly in. You see, in the meantime, with this all underground shit going on, you'll think that there's room for you. If there was room for you, you would never be cast to the streets after you've done something. You'll never have your back turned on you. War is distraction. It's all it is. It's distraction. It distracts you from what else is going on. And then the need to be right. The need to be the winner. The need to... And both sides feel this. So therefore, there is an equal force from one side to the other side to prove this point.
They play on the ego, don't they? The powerful families.
Therefore, there is a desperation that comes. And this can be done. So you could have the whole world with a different world leader, but all be related to one another. And in this relation comes this overwhelming love and therefore respect for one another. Because when war kicks off, they all run for their bunkers.
Yes, they do.
When it all happens, when you see different established groups building underground bunkers, and you think that they're really large, that must be for all of the people. No, people is collateral damage in a war. That is collateral. Your life is up for collateral. The more people I kill there, the less people they have to build their land. But you can tell it when you look at the statistics on World War II. Both sides lost severe amount of people. Both sides lost an awful amount of people. In fact, I believe it's equal to. There isn't really much split hairs in that. And most of it is collateral damage. Men, women, children, not just soldiers.
Exactly.
And then why does it affect everybody in that way? Well, because it's then hospitals. And if they say that we still feel the effects of World War II today and World War One, then what has that stopped you from achieving? Could you have already been in space by now? Could you have already have been mining other planets by now? Could you have already have been there? Could you have already have got a lot more further in life as a species together collectively?
Yeah, you would cooperate easier way because there wouldn't be that history that makes you uneasy. History and different approach.
And then there's still that sparring. Some people say 2 world wars and an FA Cup, right? I mean, and there is, I guess there is equal to from the other side as what there is. What is being sent is being received, and what is being received is being sent. There is still that sort of... There is still a level of... Because you killed granddad, great-granddad. You killed great-granddad. Again, at least you're equal on something. You look at the losses. Loses, losses, whatever. On both sides. It removed most of your land masses. You have to rebuild again. So each time you flatten it down and you have to rebuild it, and you flatten it down and you have to rebuild it, you're not thinking of going to space.
You are busy.
And no one ever talks about the environmental impact of what those bombs have done to the planet. You know, we're seeing all of this carbon. What? It must be come from driving cars but not dropping bombs. And some of them are absolutely terrible of what the chemicals were inside that. But if each side does the same thing as each other, that's uncanny. That is a bit strange. And then they look like the broomsticks in the waves to stir it up and then drop back when the going gets going. Did you see, was it Winston Churchill? Was he on the front lines? Was he walking through the sands? Was he walking through the trenches?
No.
No? Were any of them?
No.
No? Why?
No.
Ultimately, it was their battle. It was their battle to fight.
Not Churchill, not Hitler, not Stalin, not Roosevelt.
And people get stuck into this.
Yeah.
People get drawn into that.
Yeah.
Then if everything against you is detrimental, but nothing is in your benefit,
Yeah.
everything against you is detrimental, nothing in your benefit. But when it comes to war, everything is in their benefit, but it's detrimental to you.
And then there's not enough resources to build something together and move on.
Because you're too busy looking across a pond.
Yeah, because you have to rebuild the infrastructure from the bottom again.
They're
again.
your enemy.
Yeah.
It's you. And whilst you're in a playground being taught how to sort out your differences without going to battle, you can't defend yourself. You most certainly cannot in this country. It is all against you. In this country. To defend yourself might land you in a prison somewhere. But yet it's okay for you to defend the establishment, but the establishment defends you, does it? Again, in this is just a mock. It's not real. It's just a conspiracy. There you are. Might as well just say it as it is. And no one ever stands united with one another unless it comes to who's got the biggest bombs, who's got the biggest this, who owns the most land, who owns the most this, who owns the most that. When really, wouldn't it be very nice if both sides can get together and work through their differences? You've got differences. Everybody's got differences. We all do. This planet is big enough for us all to live in, thrive in together to be able to work through our differences. It's about finding what those differences are.
Yeah.
You know, I said in my last video that military might go forward as being quite when you look into the future and you look back and when things change, the military have a vital role in situations of being seen as a very terrible time in history. When you look back at it, you know, it's hard to perceive how the future sees the past.
Yeah.
And then you got to be sure that you're not living in the past right now, and that the future hasn't already happened, and that this is just a learning curve for everyone to go back to see. You never know. You never truly know, because it's life, right? It's so amazing, to be honest. Like, the differences that arise that might set off a catastrophe that ends everything for all the species on the planet. And we could be fast approaching that. If you can't work through your differences to accept one nation as one and allow them to have what they need to not live in fear or feel restrained, and another nation to not live in fear nor feel restrained, and to be recognized and respected without it needing to cross this line of war. War stagnates you, it distracts you. There are no winners in war, none, because there is collateral damage on both sides done. There is severe amount of damage, there's severe amount of being held back. It does not allow you to move forwards. Do you want to walk into a new world? Or do you want to carry on doing the history repeating itself, but claim that you are better than the past, even though past mistakes keep being repeated? And then, what does this questions our education. Why are we being taught something one way, but it's okay in another when it comes to this war? We are taught here that we must find our differences with one another. We must be able to do this. We must be able to come together and work together through no matter what, thick and thin, you know, blood's thicker than water and all of this sort of stuff. Well, if it truly was, would the military ever go at their own people? Would they ever go at their own people despite the fact that corporations make massive mistakes to try and get them out of a problem? Or because you followed an order? Hey God, I was just following orders.
Yeah.
Hey Jesus, hey collective spirits, we were just following orders. We didn't think you had quite enough spirits. We wanted to send a few more your way. Is that cool?
No, it's not, is it?
Thought you were there to protect your people. Well, yeah, we are, but only some of them. Only the ones that agree to us all the way through, thick and thin, right? Because it's amazing who you can be taught is your enemy.
Yeah, only the ones with the higher rank, higher status.
Someone above you says that's your enemy and you follow it.
Yeah.
Are you following it or are you following the money? Well, I'm doing it because of this. Well, have you been brainwashed to do that? Was there an old version of you that wouldn't do that? Or are you just got to be this mongerer that you've got to go because you're told? Is this because it comes from within? Because soldier, from one side of the field to another, you are both exactly the same. You are soldiers.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very interesting when I break it out that how you could dominate the entire world and it would be very easily done. Especially when there is, I am better. I am right.
Yeah.
And the other side says, I am right. I am better. And when everybody has got the same belief.
My religion is right. My way of life is right.
Yeah.
Isn't it all of that?
My flag. But it's not your flag. My flag. Oh, get that bit wrong. F-L-A-G-A-R.
Yeah. Yeah.
My people. My people.
Yeah.
Is the place not big enough? I think it's Reagan that's correct in that when you have a common enemy. But again, I wouldn't like to put the emphasis on anything that comes from space being a threat.
Yeah.
Again, it's I like the way Ronald Reagan is thinking in that. I see his point in that. I see what he's saying, but I don't like to emphasize the fact that anything that is of origin, because you are all in the same universe.
Yeah.
That's no different that you are on the same planet. It's the mentality that we have been taught that anything that is not a part of this is a threat.
Yeah.
And it's beyond me. You share the same universe. You share the same universe. Therefore, the same composition as anything else in the universe. The thing that sets you apart, I guess, is the mindset within it.
Yeah.
But I can assure you that things that want to venture away from their planet or star system, are not thinking about death or destruction. Anyway, whatever, it's small hand, it doesn't matter. They're thinking about life, time. They're thinking about betterment. Why? Proof's in the pudding. Why are they thinking about betterment, do you think? Why are they thinking about life? Why are they thinking about time? Why are they adding value?
Because they want to go on and evolve and explore.
No, only individual species that operate this my mindset around their own planet as being the number one hashtag are the ones that are thinking of these things here. Destruction, death, distraction.
Yeah. Distraction in order to stay on the top,
Yeah, the top,
Yeah.
oneself. Division.
Submission,
hierarchy. This is what one side of it that would stay here. That's what they would do. Ones that put value in lifetime betterment, because they would know that this time is limited. This time here is limited.
Mm-hmm.
The time of their Earth is limited. The time of their star is limited. They want more of this.
Continuation.
They want more of this. They need more of this.
Yeah.
And betterment comes from knowledge.
Yeah. DGE.
Sorry, part of my brain that does for spelling is just not there because I'm elsewhere right now. So that part of it is just almost unaccessible in this moment. I just can't access that part that wants to bring through spellings. It's very strange. I can't explain that very much. I don't know. It's very. I'm elsewhere in the mind, so I don't want to get too hung up on spelling. But thank you for helping me with that. But yeah, they're not thinking about all of this stuff. They're thinking of a lot more than just this. They're thinking of this, and they're thinking of more life, more time.
Yeah.
They're thinking of intelligence, intel.
Yeah.
They are thinking higher.
Mm-hmm.
They are thinking higher up. They think to recycle what they've got, not destroy it. They would build themselves another Earth, another vessel, another star. They would know the fact that if they stay, they are best as doomed. Therefore, that removes control.
Yeah.
You can't get more time. They would be thinking of one another, not out to try and dominate, control, or do all the rest of it. No, they would want to know that there must be others out there thinking the same way.
Mm-hmm.
There must be a shared existence out in this universe where we are all together. We are all sharing this same fate. And wouldn't that be a nice thing? Not that it's just us, the 1%.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't be thinking that way. That we're just 1% and it's all about us. You bow to us. This is how it is. Because God stuck us here. I'm not saying that God didn't, and I'm not having a jab at God. And I think that in my heart of hearts, He knows that. She, he, she, they, the collective that have passed on. They know my true intentions. I don't really feel the need to explain it, but I'm not jabbing. No. And then, if there are other life forms and there is a higher belief, they would definitely want you to see if you can share in that higher belief. When I look across the planet and see that we have multiple different versions of human. Now, to say that is not me being racist. It's something that we should all embrace, that we are of very, you can say that we are human, but we have very differences. We have a lot of differences to us. Our united differences is what we should be focused on. To unite ourselves in our strengths. Each has a unique strength. Each has a unique weakness. And I say that what is on the planet is played out in the universe. All of this is being played out above us in the stars. And to be able to unite together in order to reach all of this stuff is very important. It takes all of you. It doesn't just take 1% of you. It will take all of you working together. Then with that mindset that if this is achieved, and then there is movement, movement out towards other stars, then they're not going to be wanting to destroy. They're going to be wanting to unite because they would want more of this and would see that there would be more to be had. They want to feel connected. And that if they've got together on their own planet and become together, don't you think that that would be the mentality that they would have?
Yeah.
To come together with other life forms. To not feel alone. To share the stories, the experiences with, the whole way of existing and just not feel so oneness. And then to think that if there was higher beliefs, it's hard to say, within any other planet system, that they believed in something more, i.e. a type of God. Wouldn't that be uniquely bizarre?
Yeah.
That different parts of the planet believed in this. Now we see in it in different parts of another planet believing in it, and then there's an equal parallel there. That would be very hard to disbelieve, that something they felt was guiding them. Something has been guiding. Whoa, I feel that. And shared on. Then this begins to put the pieces of the puzzle together. It'd be hard to dispute it.
Yeah.
There would be an essence, an ability to live longer. Because I think that when I dive even deeper into that, when we look at, it all depends on where our attention is, right? So if we have our attention on just war and destruction and rebuild, war, destruction, rebuild, war, destruction, rebuild. I think that the times that technology get going and more of it comes about, I think this is when it shifts your perspective. You haven't got to worry about the things that you did last week. Your ancestors had to worry about. You no longer need to worry about that. You can focus more time to focus on other stuff. Rather than focus on worry, stress, anxiety, living paycheck to pay. I think all of this stuff is not helpful for a species. But I think that their food, your food, if you were to meet other life forms like this, their knowing that went in a different direction to your knowing, both very relevant for because you then get this new type of knowing is then branched out of that. Their knowing went in a different direction, but now is going in two directions because they now have to teach. Yours comes in and it has to teach. This then flows into what I like to understand is the singular knowing. Just to have one knowing over here is one piece of a puzzle. To have another piece of knowing that went off in a different direction here, and then here you then bridge the gap, and then there's that new flow. The combined knowing, yes? And then if you have any more that comes into it, it just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. I mean, that is a very beautiful thing. It's no different from galaxies coming together with its star cluster that it has around it, yes? So you've got two galaxies. One's over here with all of its knowing from where it reigned supreme in that area, collecting those types of elements that perhaps are going to be 0.1% different to yours because the stars did different things in different areas and mingled with different stuff, different elements, blah, blah, blah. And then there's yours knowing, your different galaxy collecting, churning in different ways that might just be slightly different to the way this one did it. Now, whether that has different factors of what gravitational influences caused it to get more hotter than this galaxy. Perhaps there was different elements, more supernovae in this one, less in this one. There was only the odd few. This one forged an awful lot of different elements in this. In more elements, maybe this one's got less. Perhaps this one has unique elements in it that this one doesn't, and this one has unique elements that this one doesn't. Then when you begin to combine this, it's no different from the life forms themselves, but when they bring their knowledge together, they then become one. As opposed to being single, that before they meet, then when they do meet, the knowledge becomes one. It's no different from two galaxies and the black holes in the middle meeting, and eventually they begin to merge and become one. Now with an array of differences that come together and they unite on their differences, come together. Now we've got a different set of stars cooking off because we didn't have these ingredients before, and this one would say, well, we never had these ingredients before. Now we've got all of these ingredients. Well, let's start cooking in a different way. Slowly but surely begins to mix in. Andromeda mixes with the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, gosh, that was in a different area. And as they begin to fall into one another, due to, I believe, gravitational influences of the black holes, let's say,
Yeah.
this one could have been near others that influenced the way it cooked. The pot over there cooked and made a different cake to what this pot over here cooked and made with different ingredients a different type of cake. Both these cakes come together and wow, you now have a new recipe for a new cake that might not be seen in other parts. The knowledge of what it brings. What if it brought life from this one and life from this one? Intelligent, we'd say.
Yeah.
Even if not. Still, that knowledge now.
Mm-hmm.
It bridges that gap. Two types of knowing.
Yeah.
Becomes one. And then you meet again with another one, if possible. Again, it still becomes one. Because then it becomes the universal knowing. That universalness, without needing to control it. Because you can't control it. Because you would have needed to have been there in the beginning in order to control it. But you weren't. And it's same likewise. And that's why I think that any that realize and go beyond and learn, I don't think will be homing their species down to be in this superior, inferior position. How can it? The universe is superior.
Mm-hmm.
Life forms inferior. Is that right? If you think about it, the universe is going to be the thing that decides whether you live, make it, or you don't if you stay on your star.
Yeah.
And you stay around your star, or if you stay on your planet.
Yeah.
That's out of your control then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you claim that you are more than that, no, I think you become more than that by growing into being more than that, by moving away from your star, by moving away and exploring together.
By learning more about universe.
Yeah. If it all fizzles out tomorrow here on Earth, that's it. You'll
That's
only
it.
know within your bubble
Yeah.
of what you learnt.
Yeah.
Once that's gone and your opportune moment is gone, and then you go and meet the maker, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And the maker says, so what do you know about the universe? Well, I know this, this, and this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
everything? Yeah, that is everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then another life form comes. Well, we learnt this over here, this over here,
Mm-hmm.
this over here.
Yeah.
You would have humans saying, no, none of that is true. That's rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
We never saw it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we're telling you that this happened and we found this.
Mm-hmm.
We got this far on our journey. Oh, that's beautiful. And then if there was a selection process taking place, which one would you want? The one that knows less or the ones that knew more? That dared to go further than ever?
Yeah. The one that knows more because it will explore furthermore. So I want it.
Well, we just took what you gave us and we just accepted that. We didn't do anything else about it because we were just waiting.
Yeah.
Is it waiting?
No.
Which ones get to the end of the roadmap? Which ones get to the end to know most of what the universe has to offer?
Exploring one.
Yeah. And then who would you trust as your aid? Ones that made it here or the ones that got here?
And continues to go.
And continues to go and go and go and go and go.
Yeah.
To the very ends to see a cycle one way to a recycle of the universe, yes?
Yeah.
From one to the other.
Yeah.
That's an awful amount of knowing that, isn't it? That is a big bubble's worth of knowing.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That to me is the peak of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
I know who I'd want on my side. I know who I'd want with me. I know who I would want to support me.
Yeah.
And then it depends on how many other amounts of knowing there could possibly be. It all depends on the angle of the peak, really. And then it depends on your lookout or perspective to these peaks. And it could keep going from there, couldn't it?
Yeah.
To how many more peaks there could be, versus how many more peaks there could be, versus how many more peaks, how many more, how many more, how many more, how many. Could I just keep going with this?
Yeah.
And then only the best from them that know how to get together, that know how to formulate together, that know how to join and become resilient. Because again, knowing it all isn't going to be done by one species. It's going to be done by a species coming together, as per natural process in the universe is teaching you. It's putting it right in front of you with galaxies that come together. That is more knowing, coming together with your differences to go on to create something even better, something more new and unseen at this point in the cycle. Then with all of these knowings that reached and excelled to the very end of what they got. Is it over? No, of course it's not, because with all that knowing and all of that impressive knowing and all of that impressive knowing and all of that impressive knowing, you all come together to relearn, to go and know and bring in all of your collective to go on to become even more knowing. And then how many of these are there that then need to come together? How much memory is that? How much retained information is that? How much?
A lot.
Now this is beyond anything that if you just end with your planet and your star. If I was to put this in some scales, well, someone's scales is going to be way up over here, right? Cool. Well, it'd probably be more like this, actually, to be fair. But I know who I would have beside me. Whether universal power, whether being power. I know which ones I'd want. And I know which ones I would not want. That would be very clear. I will have to be very clear on that. I would know which stars I would want to shine. Ones that want to shine. Then you would have to ask the maker of the universe.
Yeah.
Why did you let this be? Well, because there's freedom.
Yeah.
In its rawest and glorious form, right?
Mm-hmm.
In its rawest form.
Yeah.
So if given that freedom, does it seek freedom? An ordered freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Because quite clearly there are some restraints on this. Are you free to fly? Not on Earth, you're not. Everything loves the idea of flying. But in space, are you not flying? So, to a degree, you can say, well, an aeroplane. To live longer. Well, on Earth you can't. But in space you can. You get to experience more. You get to live longer. Breathing in Earth gases. Very good. It's freedom. It's there. Life creates. Life goes on and evolves. Are you happy with the evolution that you've reached at so far? Yes. Then you need to do something about that then.
Yeah.
Because there is freedom for you to advance past that.
Yeah.
To no longer be subject to evolutional changes.
Yeah.
On Earth, you're subject to it. In space, on your own vessel, that's where you craft it. And if what's given can be crafted, which it can, and I look at that as a roadmap. Yeah, I'm going to leave this one here. I think I've said enough. But again, as we're moving through time, and to look back on these moments, to think, oosh. And if there is a collective, I will be looking back at that too. Whether it be now, because you see, it's very weird, isn't it? This could already have happened, and this could be being looked back. But even in the now, the future could already be, the past could be in the future, even though you don't realize it. Do you see what I'm saying with that? Probably not. So if the past crossed over and, well, they were looking at it now, they would already be in the future, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It is.
But to everyone else, it's the now moment. And what if the future has already happened and they're looking back into the past?
Yeah.
It seems like everything can be turned on its heads at any moment, and the now moment just seems so, well, whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't, it falls away as to be a now moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just based on perspective, yes? Your perspective now, or what you understand now, gives you a limited perspective. And in some instances after, even though it's still a now moment in the present tense they're saying it, this could already have been. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Isn't it very strange that you can flip at any moment? But I think that it's healthy to ask yourself, if you were a god, what would you want?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what gets lost in all of this. Everyone tries to be a god, but no one is asking themselves a very powerful question. If you were a god, and all of this stares you in the face, as much as it does me or anybody else that looks up, if you were a god, what would you like around you? Ask yourself that question. What would you want to see? And I mean, to have division on your own planet against people, is that really a universe full of possibility? Is it really one for you? If you think about that, just for a second then. Can't get on with people on your own planet. What does that show you about any other life forms that could present themselves? Then this would not be a place for you. What is that noise?
I don't know.
Do you hear it? I don't know what that could be.
Here.
I'll pay attention to it if I hear it again. But is this an environment for you? If you think about it. Because the possibilities are it's definitely out there, isn't it? Like, there could be even more. Yeah,
limited here, but open somewhere where there is space. Space. The name tells you.
Space, when you think of it that way, it makes you think empty. The space is not empty.
It makes you think, okay, it can be filled.
Well, it is
with
quite
something
full.
New.
It is very full when you think about it. And you're limited to your perspective. And depending on whether that goes far more because of your limited perspective of sight, you can only see this much. When you take a snapshot of the sky, zoom in and play around with the brightness and contrast.
Yeah, you see so many stars.
You see so much more.
Yeah.
So much more. More than you would believe was in that patch of sky.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So therefore, it's unlimited potential that
Yeah.
there is more out there.
Yeah.
And then when you look at Earth's history and think, how many humans have been, how many animals have been,
Yeah.
how much nature has been. I mean, it's a pretty big number, right? It's impressive.
Yeah.
But to limit yourself down to think, that's it. That's all there is what's in this now moment. Not what's been in the past, because it's not here anymore. Then what is being defined? Developed. Well, these life forms are good enough, but they're not quite. And then how long have the intelligent life forms been around for? That's the next question, compared to anything else. And one thing that sticks out when you think about it is only the ones that don't do anything about their fate, or have not the ability to do anything about their fates. Those are the ones that meet their demise, that choose to do nothing. Remember that. So sharks are very domineering, aren't they? They want to dominate the ocean, yes?
Yeah.
And when it plays this hierarchy game, what about lions then? Dominating the landscape, yes? They're dominating for power to reign supreme, yes? Most animal forms do this. They want to dominate. They want to be able to be in the power. But their power, to me, is not there. Why? Can they do anything about their fate? No. If a meteorite comes, what can they do? I'm going to roar at it.
They won't even notice it.
And therefore, they've spent the longest time doing the wrong things. Ants dominating, bees dominating, controlling the hive. Do they do anything about their fates? If a meteorite came? No.
No.
Nope.
You don't need even meteorite, just earthquake or tsunami that comes from your own planet is enough.
Climate
To
change.
destroy, yeah.
Meteorite. Super volcano.
Yeah.
I could go on and on. Rogue planet. Black hole. Ice age. Hot age.
Yeah.
Colliding star. Vanishing star. Rogue star. Planet collisions. Irregular orbit. All of these things I've mentioned, do you think humans can do anything about it? Perhaps not directly, but what about indirectly?
Yeah.
And then it asks another question, the now moment. Yes, it is unfair to compare humans with these animals because they don't have the ability to do something about it. Well, not yet. What makes you think that they don't get the chance to? And even if they did have the chance to, would they change? Would they do something about it? There's another question entirely, isn't it? So, and throughout countless amounts, dinosaurs reigned supreme, if you want to venture down that one. But did they do anything about their fate in playing this hierarchy game?
No.
Kings of the pack, leaders of the pack. No.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They lost it.
And then, would it be fair to assume that they had an opportunity to, but chose not to? Again, this is another question that remains to be seen by something more divine, if you want to put it into godly, universally. Because for all you know, maybe it has had the same option that humans did, but humans stuck out a little bit more. To have the ability to do something about their fate, that is selected. You've been selected. my understanding of it. Superior and inferior. Well, that doesn't work if you are in control of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. I like venturing down these. And I'm going to leave this one here because I think that was fun. I enjoyed that. Very good.